Under the shadowed slopes of the Afghan mountains, a lone voice echoes through the rugged terrain, a voice that Pakistan's military claimed had been silenced. But tonight, that voice speaks again. In a new video shared with international media outlets, the leader of the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, Noor Wali Mehsud, appears alive, calm, and defiant. The footage, filmed in an undisclosed location, shows Mehsud riding a mule alongside armed men, a symbolic gesture of resilience after reports that he had been killed in a Pakistani airstrike near Kabul. The video opens with slow, deliberate movement. The group travels across barren hills, framed by the cold wind and harsh light of Afghanistan's October landscape. The men carry rifles and appear relaxed, confident, an image designed to send a message not only to Pakistan, but also to Mehsud's followers. Their leader is alive. In the video, Mehsud, wearing a black turban and holding a small radio, addresses his fighters and the broader public. He speaks in Pashto, the language of both Taliban factions across the border. His tone is steady, measured, neither emotional nor aggressive. A few days ago, on the 9th of October, he says, the Pakistani media and the world started saying that Pakistani jets had bombarded Kabul and said that I had been killed. Some of our friends were worrying about me. However, I had released an audio message for consolation. His words, though brief, cut directly through the fog of competing claims that followed the airstrike. Pakistan's military had earlier stated that Mehsud and several senior commanders were targeted in a precision operation across the border, a rare acknowledgement of cross-border strikes inside Afghanistan. Afghan officials, meanwhile, condemned what they called a violation of sovereignty, while offering no clarity on whether Mehsud had actually been among the dead. For days, confusion reigned across local and international media. The Pakistani Taliban, or TTP, remained silent, fueling speculation that Mehsud had indeed been killed. But now, this video appears to settle that question, at least for the moment. As the footage continues, the camera zooms in on Mehsud sitting on the ground, surrounded by a small group of fighters. His posture is calm, his hands folded loosely on his lap. Around him, men in military fatigues clean their rifles and sip tea from tin cups, a tableau that feels both mundane and deliberate. Then Mehsud speaks again. Therefore, he says, with advice from our friends, I was left with no other option but to send a message through video and make it clear to all the Muslims, the Mujahideen of Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan and the nation of Pakistan. It is a statement that seems aimed at multiple audiences, his followers, Pakistan's intelligence establishment, and perhaps even the Taliban government in Kabul, which has faced mounting pressure from Islamabad to crack down on cross-border militant activity. The TTP, an umbrella organization of Pakistani militant factions, has waged a 2-decade-long insurgency against the Pakistani state. Its leadership and many of its fighters are believed to operate from sanctuaries inside Afghanistan, particularly in provinces like Kunar, Nangarhar, and Paktika. Despite repeated denials, Pakistan insists that Afghan territory is being used as a staging ground for attacks inside its borders. The airstrike on October 9th was reportedly one of several recent operations targeting TTP hideouts, following a string of deadly attacks in Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan provinces. Those attacks, including assaults on police stations and army posts, have reignited tensions between Islamabad and Kabul, both accusing each other of harboring extremists. The timing of this new video is significant. Coming just days after Pakistan's claim of Mehsud's death, it undermines the narrative of a successful operation. It also serves as a morale boost for TTP supporters at a moment when the group's leadership had been under pressure. In the video's third segment, Mehsud looks directly into the camera. His voice hardens slightly as he shifts from denial to defiance. I want to be clear, he declares, that, especially for the nation of Pakistan, whoever is fighting against them, they will be accused of different things, sometimes something to do with India and then another. In the current days, because they failed in the fights, they are now accusing Afghanistan of using its soil against them. This message is not new in Mehsud's rhetoric. For years, the TTP has accused Pakistan's military of scapegoating Afghanistan and deflecting from domestic security failures. But this particular statement, delivered on camera after reports of his death, carries added weight. It frames the group as a victim of misinformation and positions Mehsud as both a survivor and a spokesman for resistance. Journalistically, this video marks another chapter in the long cat-and-mouse game between Pakistan's military intelligence apparatus and the militant networks it once helped foster. For decades, the region's rugged frontier has blurred the line between state and insurgent, between policy and proxy. Since taking over the TTP in 2018, after the death of Mullah Fazlullah, Noor Wali Mehsud has reshaped the group's strategy. Less spectacular urban attacks, more targeted ambushes, and coordinated raids in the tribal belt. His leadership has also brought a new emphasis on propaganda and media control, with carefully timed videos, statements, and even digital magazines circulated online. This latest appearance fits that pattern, both a denial and a declaration. The choice of setting, remote, mountainous, with visible fighters, is a deliberate invocation of continuity. It mirrors classic Taliban-era propaganda from the early 2000s, meant to project endurance and legitimacy. For Islamabad, however, Mehsud's re-emergence is likely to raise uncomfortable questions. If he was indeed the target of an airstrike deep inside Afghanistan, how did he survive? And more importantly, what does this say about the intelligence guiding those operations? Afghan officials have remained tight-lipped about where the video was filmed. Some analysts believe it may have been shot in Khost or Paktika provinces, areas long known for their porous border crossings and limited state control. Others suggest the footage could have been recorded weeks earlier and only released now to coincide with the controversy. Whatever the truth, the video underscores a central reality. The TTP remains operational and organized despite Pakistani efforts to dismantle it. Over the past year, attacks attributed to the group have surged, targeting police convoys, army patrols, and infrastructure projects. The United Nations estimates that the TTP has between 3,000 and 5,000 fighters, many of them based across the Afghan frontier. In Islamabad, officials have yet to issue a formal response to the new footage, but security analysts say the government faces a dilemma. Acknowledging Mehsud's survival would undermine the narrative of successful operations. Ignoring it risks letting his message spread unchecked. For many Pakistanis, the issue is not just Mehsud's survival. It's the persistence of a group that continues to strike with impunity despite years of military campaigns. From Operation Zarb-e-Azb in North Waziristan to Operation Radul Fasad, Pakistan has repeatedly declared victory, only to see violence resurface in new forms. Meanwhile, in Afghanistan, the Taliban government finds itself caught between political rhetoric and practical realities. Kabul has repeatedly promised not to allow its soil to be used for attacks against neighbors, but enforcing that pledge across remote mountainous terrain and against ideologically aligned militants remains another matter entirely. As the 32-minute clip closes, the camera pulls back. Mehsud mounts his mule again and disappears into the mist, the sound of hoofbeats fading into the distance. No further statements, no slogans, just the image of a man whose death was declared and whose survival now challenges two governments. For regional observers, this moment is about more than one man's survival. It reflects the broader instability that continues to define the Pakistan-Afghanistan border, a space where narratives, loyalties, and realities shift faster than the mountains change color. From Islamabad's ministries to Kabul's corridors of power, the reappearance of Noor Wali Mehsud is a reminder that in this long war of shadows, truth itself can become a weapon, and survival a form of victory.
والصلاة والسلام على من نبي بعده ما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله
A few days ago, on the 9th of October, the Pakistani media and the world started saying that Pakistani jets had bombarded Kabul and said that I had been killed. Some of our friends were worrying about me. However, I had released an audio message for consolation. Therefore, with advice from our friends, I was left with no other option but to send a message through video and make it clear to all the Muslims, the Mujahideen of Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, TTP, and the nation of Pakistan. I want to be clear that, especially for the nation of Pakistan, whoever is fighting against them, Pakistan, they will be accused of different things, sometimes something to do with India and then another. In the current days, because they failed in the fights, they are now accusing Afghanistan of using its soil against them.